I'll switch over to you guys on the on-demand mastermind and just work with you guys directly. Okay, sound good? Awesome. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, gosh knows where else. I don't know if we're on LinkedIn right now or where we are, but hello, what's up? Okay, so we have a really good conversation today. I'm coming back from Flex a little early. Does anybody not know what Flex time is? Put me if you do not know what Flex time is. Put me. Put the word me in the comment section if you do not know what flex time is. Okay, so this is really important. Okay, so we're going to talk about managing your mind so that money and freedom truly come. I can hear somebody's clicking on their computer on our Zoom, so somebody's unmuted somewhere. So I'm going to talk about managing your mind because you got to do it to be able to excel. Are we under agreement with that? Like self-doubt, frustration, like who are you behind closed doors? Are you a temper tantrum or are you mute? Meaning that you just not speak and you just shut down and cave down and go to bed or eat. I don't know. Do you get angry? Like there's something you do when you get triggered, which means that that thing, so you've got what you've got in your life. You've created maybe you've created 10 out of 10 relationships, or maybe you've created 3 relationships, right? Maybe you've created a 10 out of 10 relationship with your bank account, or maybe you are fearful every time you spend money. All of that is what I talk about managing your mind. And just like you, I've had to continue and continue, right? Like there's different income brackets that really come with mindset. So I'm going to talk about that today, but I want to start with flex time because I saw a lot of people are not really clear what flex time is. So the last week of every month I take off. This month there was 2 weeks in the month. Okay. And so like there was 5 weeks in the month. So there was 3 weeks that I worked. So I worked 15 days a week or 15. I should go back on flex time. 15 days a month. I work 15 days a month, but I don't do it because I don't do it because I want to break from my business or so this is a fundamental piece. Okay, so grab a piece of paper and I want you to Megan, there's somebody completely unmuted and I keep hearing them. So please, if you can find them. So so if you are running a business or running your life with the idea that you need a vacation from it or you want to break from it, imagine being in a relationship with you and the person needing a break from you. You get what I'm saying? Like the attractiveness and the stickability is very dangerous, right? Somebody else could walk into their life and charm them right out of your relationship. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. So being interactive with me is really a good thing because I go back and I look at the chats and it also helps you not feel alone. And part of managing your mind to be able to create incredible amounts of income really comes down to realizing that there's nothing wrong with you as well. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys to be in the chats and to speak with me. Okay, so I got this little frog in my throat. So I take flex time and I take the last week of every month off, or if there's 5 weeks in a month, I take 2 weeks off. Again, it is not because I'm trying to create this level of freedom that a lot of people think time freedom means I work less and play more. That will result in either boredom, death, addiction, digging holes in your backyard because it results in not having a purpose. Okay, so you can only vacation or play golf so much before you start to go, is there something else to do? Are you guys following me here? Especially for business driven people. You go find me a 74-year-old or my stepdad, 80 something years old. He has still got his head in the game, right? Because it's not him to disconnect. But then you compare him against an 80-year-old that stopped working and it's wild to see the difference in the sharpness. You guys follow me? Yes? Okay. So managing your mind and taking flex time, the start is I'm going to give you guys all a challenge today. The challenge is what do you need? What flex do you need in your life to be able to think? And do not undervalue thinking. I'm going to explain that for a second. I just read three of our senior managers in Hardcore. I basically spent probably an hour not only convincing them, enrolling them, strongly encouraging them, to take some level of flex. Okay, so they can't take a week off a month, obviously, right? But just like a pro athlete, you cannot be in a high pressure job and not have some flex time. So and flex time looks like this. I recommended no meeting Fridays, which everybody in the company that they work with here at HeartCore just knows that they don't have meetings on Fridays. Right now, I'm not saying they're going to do that, but I strongly encourage that. Why? Because if they have space in their calendar for a full day on a work week, they will feel like they can get creative. How many guys, how many guys are like me that if I have a full day open and I have one appointment, it's almost like my whole day goes away. Like, it's like I can't do anything before it. I can't do anything after it. Like, somehow that appointment like just makes me feel busy. Any of you guys like that? It just makes me feel busy. And so, see, I see some of you guys are saying yes. Okay, so that's the aha moment. So Dan Sullivan, a company called Strategic Coach, he's the only person I know that talks about this in this industry of entrepreneurship. Okay, he calls it free days. I call it flex time. And then he has something else called buffer days, which is where you kind of have a mix of different, you've got some meetings, you got some, other things you're doing, but it's like you're kind of free, but you're not totally free. There's like a dentist appointment, there's stuff, right? He calls a free day, I call flex day, I call it flex time. I'm looking for no meetings, no anything, no family, right? No, like I'm going for dinner with family. No, I'm going to hook up with my girlfriends. Like I have dinner tonight with my girlfriend, Alison Maslin, right? Like in flex time, there's nothing. It's completely nothing. And so I took a flex week and then I started doing a little bit of buffer days, I guess is what Dan Sullivan would call it. I don't call it that, where I worked with some of our senior team setting up 2024. Okay, so I want you guys to, we are currently August 31st. If you want to talk about, I'm going to go through this content with you. You want to talk about managing your mind, you need to know where you're going. So we set targets and got rid of busy energy, right? Whoever's coughing right now, raise your hand so that Megan can find you, so that she can actually mute you if you don't mind, please. Okay, whoever just coughed. So managing your mind is knowing where you're going. So I'm gonna challenge you. You guys ready for a challenge? I'm gonna challenge you to make decisions that are going to actually give you the freedom you want. Okay, so number one, I want you today, before the end of the day comes about, to choose what your flex time looks like. So you cannot say to me, Shand, I got little kids at home. If you give me an excuse, that's an excuse to me. Let me share something with you. Working on stuff does not mean you are a champion. Working on stuff means that you're working on stuff. It doesn't mean that I can rely on you for absolutely anything. How many guys have people in your life that are busy and they tell you what they're working on? They tell you all the things they're doing, but what's the result? Okay, so working on stuff is great, but what I want you to do is I want you to commit to results. That means completion energy. Somebody write the word complete in the chat. Completion energy. Okay, so complete in the chat, write that. So I want to get it. Anybody who like skims by social media, you guys on social media, can you share this? You guys on the Zoom can't do that, but you guys on social media, can we share this so that we can rise the influence with people out there who are building businesses? And think right now, there's millions of us going through today. And why would we not want to help everybody who's an entrepreneur that's actually setting the economies in different countries right now, that are hiring people, right? Like, let's help them. So share on social media if you don't mind, okay? So I'm gonna challenge you today to pick your flex time. So I take the last week of every month off. I do not do it because I have a lot of money. And I also feel no shame in saying that because I worked hard for that. Okay, I sold my BMW, went without a car for a year. I challenged my courage. Somebody didn't catch that, I'm gonna repeat that. I challenged my courage. And I knew that the thing between me and managing my mind, the thing between me and making decisions, was being courageous. It was that if I wasn't afraid to make a wrong decision or afraid that something wouldn't work, I could manage my mind. I quickly understood that if I was really going to follow what was the fire, the burning coal in my gut, that I knew that I was supposed to help millions of people. If that was really going to happen and I was going to short circuit or hack past my self-doubt of like, am I good enough? Do I know enough? You know what I mean? Or comparison, comparing myself to other people. I knew that if I spent my life trying to debate with those feelings, that I was never going to get anywhere fast. Anybody catch that? So what I realized is that I needed to figure out how to manage my mind. The only way I could do that is to have great courage. So I needed space to stop worrying and start working on a result. So that's when I created Flex Time. So, and I had a coach that said, Shanda, she said, you're a workaholic, you work 7 days a week. Nobody could be productive that way because you can't think. Now, don't get me wrong. There are seasons. You're filling an event, you're learning a new skill, you're about to do a TED Talk, and you're really working on defining something. You might pull what I would call the equivalent of an all-nighter, right? You might go after it, but you cannot live like that because you would become ineffective. When you're going after it like that, you're in what we call the zone, right? We have a whole event around it. How do you get in the zone so that when you're focusing on something, you become so tunnel vision that you hit results everywhere? Do you guys get it? Yes? Who loves that space? We almost have an outer body experience when you speak, right? Like the best. The zone is the best. Put zone in the comment section. It is the best. If you've ever experienced that, athletes experience it, business owners experience it, teachers experience it, swimmers experience it, runners experience it. When you get in that zone, you create a result. You come out wishing that I had that day. Once a week would be incredible, right? Well, what if you could get yourself into it every single day? You can, but you must manage your emotions. So the first challenge I have for you is I want to see everybody create Flex Time. Make a decision and tell everybody in your life today. Do I got an agreement? Put yes. Do we got an agreement? Put yes, if I have an agreement. Okay, so don't break your agreement with me because you have no right to convict other people of not following through in your life or not getting off the couch or being ambitious. I know there's some of you guys are absolutely irritated with your spouses or people you're dating or family members or friends because they're just not hitting it in life. But yet you make a commitment like, yes, I'll pick my Flex Time and tell everybody in my life about it. And you make this commitment, then you don't do it. It's like the reason why you're on their case is because you have so much of your case that's messy. So I'm not here to look good. I'm not here to be your friend. My goal is to be the most effective business coach in our time. We currently have the highest success rates of entrepreneurs. I'm not out there being the most celebratory, although we will do that. But that's not what I focused on. I focused on getting our coaching really strong before we built our platform. We run our own media, which means that, I don't know, Jonathan, have we had like 1,000 people or something join our on-demand mastermind last month?
1,400.
1,400. So we have 1,400 new entrepreneurs that joined us this month to be on the on-demand mastermind today. How would you guys like to have that type of result? Say yes if I would. And say no if no. Right? Put yes or no. Like, do you want that type of result? Okay, so I can help you do that. But if you don't create Flex Time, you're not going to think about the big ideas that are the shower moments. You need to have shower moments all the time on demand. Literally, you got to drop yourself into the zone and hyper focus on something so you solve the problems of you reaching more people. How many guys need to reach more people? Put me. Okay, so I had a coach that said, you're a workaholic, and she made me work 3 days a week. Now, I was broke. I was very frustrated with the coaching. I wanted to make her wrong. How many guys have ever made your coach wrong? Put the word coach. How many guys have ever made your coach wrong? Put the word coach, right? Be honest, come on. I know that I'm not the only one here, okay? But did you still listen to them? Okay, I'm not saying did it work. I'm saying, did you still listen to them, or did you either stop paying your bills, that's never been me. I have never, ever, ever not paid my coaching bill, ever. I know I'm a coach and I don't want my clients to do that to me, but that is just, you can't do that. and expect to go out there and build a business. You got to pay your bills. Do you know what I mean? You got to find a way to pay your bills if you can't pay your bills, just like I had to. I had a virtual assistant that literally let me, I remember one month they didn't make me pay their bill. And they said, next month you can pay half of it, and the month after you can pay half of it. Then in 2 months you'll be caught up. Right? Totally. I go, why would you do that? He goes, because I believe in you. In other words, everybody gets caught here and there, but that should not be a way of life. It was a misjudgment from being in the weeds. Okay. So pick your flex time. So when she made me work 3 days a week, that's when I popped from $2,000 a month to $140,000 in a year. How do you go from that? Not $2,000 a month, $2,000 in a year. I was making $2,000 in a whole year, and I made $140,000 in a year. $2,000 is my whole year. Hired a coach, paid her $1,500 a month, and her advice to me was leadership. She said, I want you to work 3 days a week, and you have to take the rest of the week off. And then I decided to not give up alcohol and give up red meat at the same time, because heck, you know, if you're going to go all in, I was like, let's go all in. I was miserable. I got depressed. I was crying all the time. All my drama came to the top, because guess what my workaholism did for me? It gave me an excuse to be a not nice person. It gave me an excuse to be a temper tantrum walking. It gave me entitlement for everybody around me, for me to be unkind to them. Anybody relate to me? Anybody? Okay, so all of that would have been operating underneath the surface. And guess what? There is nobody I know that runs a business that doesn't run through incredibly high pressure things. So if you are a spiritual coach out there and you're telling business owners to live with no pressure, you are hurting them, because they were born to deal with pressure, and they have a calling that requires them to get good with pressure. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes. So if you are a spiritual coach out there and you are telling entrepreneurs to just be in the flow is another kind of word for zone, right? There's a power to getting into the zone or getting into the flow. But what you need to be teaching them is to expand their bandwidth, because they were put on this planet to forge movements. And I don't know one person we read about in history that didn't walk through extreme amounts of pressure. Do you guys got it? So when you take that, when you convince entrepreneurs that they should be living in the flow, and by the way, I watched a video this one I thought was great, said, you know, no entrepreneurs, no good entrepreneurs ever tell somebody to hold back. No good ones do. They tell them they can do it. They tell them there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. They actually encourage them to keep going. There's no runner, somebody who runs out there, that ever condemns somebody for running, right? When they sprain their ankle or something happens, they give them advice on how to rehabilitate and get back on the road. You guys follow me? There's no bodybuilder out there that tells somebody who's getting into bodybuilding. My point is you have a vision, you have a calling, you have something that was born in your heart. And if you don't go after it, then what's going to happen is the people around you are going to convince you to take a break. You've got to learn how to run on your productive time in a way that you can manage your mind, so that when the people around you tell you, because they don't have your calling, like there are people that you are married to sometimes that do not have your calling. There are people who are your parents that do not have your calling. My parents, my mother-in-law is one of my favorite people on the planet. I love that woman. She's my biggest cheerleader, right? But she also does not understand my calling. She thinks I work too hard. I work 15 days a month. I guarantee you, when she was working in nutrition, and I'm not a big Planned Parenthood person, but she worked in Planned Parenthood, right? And I guarantee you she worked more than I did, and had 2 baby kids at home. Do you know what I mean? 2 working parents, right? I guarantee you it. But yet she thinks I work too hard. And she thinks that because she doesn't understand my calling. Are you guys picking it up? Are you guys picking it up? So do I fight her? No. Do I get defensive or offended by her? No. Because when I look at my mother-in-law, I see a woman that is my cheerleader. I see a woman that loves me. I see a woman that has a very different calling than I do. a very different calling. And we live in this world that supposedly we are supposed to shut our mouth and not speak about our value systems because it's politically incorrect or socially not inclusive anymore. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? If you're not careful, you will suppress yourself right out of the calling that was put in your heart when you were born onto this planet. So the way that I shut everything out is flex time. It gives me patience. It gives me a better mood. It gives me space to think. And sometimes flex time looks like I go get a pedicure or a manicure. And while I'm getting that manicure, I'm thinking about things. I got my little book with me and I'm writing. But you know what happens? The best ideas, when my team's like, what are we going to do for, this mastermind? Hey, Shanda, I want to plan the agenda. I want to get all the things organized. I'm like, I'm not there yet. Why am I not there? Because I don't have time to think about it. Do you guys see what I'm saying? I know you can relate. Can you relate? Put an R if you can relate. So here's the 3 things you need to do other than flex time. You got to choose your flex time. You got to tell everybody what it is. It needs to be the same time all the time. It can't be like, this week I'm going to take Monday. Next week I'm going to take Friday. Next week, because I've got kid drop off, I'm going to take, the afternoon. People have to know how to be in team with you. So they need to know what your flex time is. Okay. I know I got a yes on that, right? So you've got to figure it out. Now, here's what would stop you from figuring out the 3 things to manage your mind. Number 1 is you need to make a decision. Where am I going? Okay. Some of you guys are motivated by money. Some of you guys are motivated by people. There's nothing wrong with either. What are you motivated by? People or money? Don't be ashamed by this. Okay. I set money goals now. I never set them before because I was intimidated by them. I had to lead up my leadership, right? So I used to pick people, numbers of people. Now to me, it's not about numbers of people, it's income. But I couldn't do that before because I'd look at the income goal and I'd freak out, right? All my manage my mind. This is part of managing your mind. You need to make a decision. Don't set a money goal if you cannot set a money goal. If that messes you up, don't do it. Set a people goal, right? How many people are you going to help? How many people are you going to sell? How many people are you going to enroll? Whatever your language is, don't make yourself wrong for it. Just meet yourself where you're at, but you got to hack the game so that you can get there. So people or money, some people have both. Okay. So you need to make a decision where you're going to be at the end of this year. And then you need to back in. What does that look like monthly? Okay. Now, what it's going to require you to do is if you look at your goal and it's goals, you get it? And you kind of look at it and it feels a little overwhelming. It might all make sense on paper, but it feels a little overwhelming. You are going to crash course to the bank like you're going to hit the wall. You won't hit it. Have you ever read the book, The One Thing? If you have not read the book, The One Thing, read the book, The One Thing. And actually, don't even read it. Get the audiobook and put it on 1.75. Don't worry about not getting every aspect of it, but listen to it. Because if you got multiple things that you're trying to work on, we have one main goal next year. There's a ripple effect that hits leadership and hits, flip the switch with Rex Crane. There's a ripple effect, but we have one main goal, right? We have one main goal for the whole of next year. Okay, got it? Yes. I'm trying to give you some insight. If I had multiple goals, it would be a problem. Does anybody understand what my one main goal is? What do you think it is? I want to see how well you know me. Go in the chat. For you guys who just met me, you don't know yet, but you're going to know and it's going to help, right? What do you think my one main goal is? Impact. Help 1 million people. I've already helped 1 million people. I want to start earning zone event. Rob, what do you think my one main goal is? Make enough to move? No, I think I already moved. See, do you see this in our leadership program? Our trainer will repeat the instructions like 5-6 times and people will still ask us, and not just 1 or 2. I mean, a lot of people See, part of managing our mind is also managing our filters. What do we hear? If you live in a state of frustration, irritated with somebody in your life, you got a leadership problem. And your filters are not clean. And so you grab a hold of the things that are called gnats, and those gnats are irritating and they trigger you. Okay. So what do you think my main goal is? Nobody said it. Jonathan, you already know because you're a senior C-level manager. It's Zone Event, or not Zone Event. It's Meant to Be Live. So it's our Meant to Be Live program. So I'm gonna throw up a flip chart here, which is probably not a great thing to do because this is a very expensive painting that I got in La Jolla Beach. So my designer will not love this, but I'm going to do this for you because I just love you. Okay. So let me put this down a little bit. So here's what you got to do. You got to have a one main goal. How do I pick that? How do I pick that one main goal? Let me grab a thicker pen. How do I pick that one main goal? Notice I'm not worried about being perfect here. You got, like, some of you guys won't go live because you don't have everything set up. It's not perfect. Just be yourself. Authenticity, it converts. People will follow you, listen to you, as long as you stop worrying about yourself and start taking care of people. You get that? That was a mic drop for someone who's still trying to get it right before they actually go out there and deliver any content. So one main goal. My one main goal is called MML. It's Meant to Be Live. It's where we help the majority of our clients create $1 million businesses or above. I stretch them. I go after, even if you're a new business owner, I still try and get you to $100,000 a month. Some people will pop it, some people won't, but who they become in the process is an extraordinary human being. We can talk about peak performance all the time or talk about your calling. When you say words like, I got to follow my calling, all I hear from you is we got to get you into peak performance coaching. This is peak performance coaching with business strategy. We are known for tangibility. I mean, look at what you're watching right now. Is this helpful? Right? Is this helpful? Yes or no? Right? So could you imagine what it's like when you're in a room with me? Could you imagine what it's like when you're at the Zone Event? Who's going to Zone Event? Put I am. Who's going to Zone Event? Put I am. Lori, Anna, or Ann, Nicole, Rosie, Michelle B, Donna, so many people. Somebody put this in the chat for people who are not going to Zone Event. End in November, you should be in a room. How many of you guys have how many of you guys, let me start here. How many of you guys, part of your calling is to create a movement with millions of people, right? Put M, put an M for millions of people, put an M. Maybe you don't know how to get there. That's why you watch these lives. That's why you come to the Zone Event. But like, how many guys it's taking incredibly too long to get there? Like you're watching the end of your life. You're watching the runway, right? And you're like, when is this thing going to hit, right? For you guys, I'm going to recommend that you 100% come to the Zone Event. And the reason why I'm going to say that is that's what we do. We help connect entrepreneurs who have a calling, whether they're just starting a business. I'm not a big fan of meeting you at the bottom of the barrel. I want to rise you up. Why does everybody talk about proximity? Because if you hang around people making money, you're going to make money. You hang around people who don't make money, you're not going to make money. And some of you guys are married to or in relationships with people who are never going to make money because it wasn't their calling. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the scenario is do you have enough people around you making money? Like it's an honest question. Do you have enough people around you making money? Right? So there's something called an it factor. You know, you watch Les Brown get up on a stage, he has an it factor. You watch, some of you guys know Rex Crane get up on a stage, he has an it factor. You watch Oprah, whether you like her or not, she has an it factor. There's an it factor. A really good news anchor, whether you like the news or not, they still attract millions and millions of viewers. Change out the anchor with someone who doesn't have an it factor, and it goes stale. Ratings go down. Do you guys see what I'm saying? That's no different than people who are putting down their credit card to work with you. That's your rating. How many guys need a new rating? Put I do. How many guys need a new rating? Put I do. You know that you got to enhance your it factor. So if you go to join me, somebody write this in the chat. Join me at zone.com. Somebody write that in the chat on social media. Join me at zone.com. Okay, right now we have our final discounted tickets on that page. Join me at zone.com. Okay, the room is almost at full capacity, you guys. We probably have another couple weeks left before the room's going to be at full capacity. Okay, so it's end of November in Austin, Texas. If you have a friend in Austin, Texas, you should send that to them. But if you're an entrepreneur that needs an it factor, I'll give you a true story. And see, even saying it makes me feel like, ugh, because I don't like saying these things. The first time I had enough courage to get on a stage, I hired a coach. Her name was Suzanne. And I get up and I get on a stage, and Suzanne gives us this stretch, this challenge. And we had to design a talk. And every person before me, I compared myself to. I was like, oh my gosh, Tom is so good at the opening. Can you guys relate to this? Oh, I should change this part of my talk because when they did that thing, everybody laughed. Like, I need to change. Do you guys get it? So I sat sweating, watching the people in front of me actually deliver their talks for our coach. And I'm in my head and on a piece of paper changing my talk, which is highly stressful. How many of you guys know you put more stress on yourself than needs to be? Do you get it? Like, I'm stressing myself out just watching other people who have courage get on a stage for our coach and deliver their talks with the intention that we all had the same goal, which was to become a great speaker. Because we knew that if we were going to help hundreds or millions of people, we knew if we were going to be sold out, we needed to be able to command a stage. You get it? So now I'm in the process of working, and I am a stress basket. I am dripping sweat. I know I've got to go up and talk, and I have compared myself against every single person, even though I probably had done a talk to a friend telling them not to compare themselves. How many of you guys give advice you don't take? Right? And so because it's a blind spot, write the word blind spot, right? Or just the word blind in the chat, right? It's a blind spot. With that, where we go unconscious and we do the thing that we know we need to not do until it's conditioned out of us, until someone looks at you and actually realizes, Mary, Chandra, right? That actually realizes that your superpower is X. And then all of a sudden you break all of the second guessing of yourself. Did you follow that? So I'm watching everybody talk and I'm debating going to the bathroom and never coming back. Because I can see that I'm 2 away from talking, I'm 1 away from talking. And I'm just like, I could just go to the bathroom and leave this mastermind, this event, and just say I was sick. And I had done things like that in the past. How many of you guys know you've taken yourself out of moments that could have elevated you because you were scared, right? So I know I'm not alone on this. So I decide to be courageous. I'd set a goal. It wasn't meant to be live at that point in time, but it was to be a dynamic speaker because I knew I needed it no matter how I felt. This goes back to some of you spiritual people again. I'm spiritual. I read scripture like almost every day, if not every day, right? I'm deep into all that stuff. And so, but my point is, so I'm not poo-pooing on spirituality. I'm saying there's some people who misuse it, right? And doing something like at that time, my goal was to be a dynamic speaker. I had no desire to be a speaker. I didn't feel like it. I didn't think it was part of my calling. I knew I needed to do it like an employee. And it was my job to be the employee of my company. I needed to learn how to speak. So I had the courage. You have to have the courage to choose the goal. And it has nothing to do with how you feel. Who's having a little bit of a breakthrough right now? You know what you need to do next. How many of you guys know you're like, you got that thing that you've been resisting that you know you need to do? Is anybody starting to see it? Okay. This is where you cannot let a coach take you out, and you cannot let a friend, a spouse, or anybody. You got to trust yourself. Yesterday, I was wearing a shirt that we had at last zone event that said, trust yourself. My intention was entrepreneurs put it on and remember they got to trust themselves, not trust everybody else, but trust themselves. You need to focus on whatever that is that's coming up for you. Mine was speaking. I go up and I speak, I deliver my talk, and here's how I managed my mind. I said to myself, my coach cannot coach me unless they see me. And I have to not try and be anybody else that just spoke on the stage for practice. I need to be me so she can see where I'm authentically good and where I suck. And I need to be vulnerable enough to suck in front of her and everybody in my mastermind so that she can coach me. That's what coachable looks like. It's not showing up like you got it all together. It's actually showing up like I'm responsible enough with a goal and I'm going to have the courage to do whatever it takes, right? I'm not just going to work on the goal. I'm going to get the result. It's about changing your language and going after it. So I get up, I do my talk. Suzanne stands up and says to everybody in the mastermind, imagine this. She said, what Shanda just did, I want none of you guys to try and model. She said she has an it factor that is not teachable. Do you know what happened to me in that moment? Every chain over my heart and it could make me cry, just broke off me. It just broke off me. It was like all the lies that wherever they came, you know, like the girls that used to chase me with hairspray and a lighter to blowtorch my hair when I was in elementary school all the way home. My mom's boyfriend who used to beat me when my mom wasn't there and like tie my hands together behind my back and make me sleep on my stomach when I was a little girl. Like I'm talking some real stuff. Some of us have walked through some real stuff, right? Like some of us have walked through some real stuff. But are you going to let that steal the calling that God put in your heart? And if you say no, you got to follow what I'm teaching today. And you got to stop running off your feelings, right? You got to go to joinmeatzoneevent.com and be in the room even if you don't feel fit or ready. You guys following me? Right? Like you've got to do what it takes to get around the people who see you. You got to be around people who have a good understanding of spiritual and tangible. You need to not just have people talk about theories around you or advice, but show you how to get them. You get it? Yes? How many of you guys are coaching with me right now? Put the word coach, right? How many of you guys are actually coaching with me in Mentor Me Live, Hardcore Leadership, somewhere, right? Put the word coach if you're coaching with me. Right? So these are our people. Come study with us. Go to join me at zone.com. Somebody write that in the chat. I see HCL. Join me at zone.com. I keep forgetting the URL. Join me at zone.com because that's not the normal URL. The normal URL has much higher ticket prices. Got it? So have enough courage to be in the room at Zone and have enough courage to pick a big goal. So you got to pick a flex time. You got to pick a goal, your number one goal, and do not have 3 or 4 because I'm going to tell you won't hit it. Okay? Number 2 is you need to stay in the step you are in. And I'm going to go through these last 2 really quickly. You need to stay in the step that you are in. What does that mean? If I'm doing this, I'm just in this moment. If I'm building like Zone Event out, okay, so we had, I mean, I'm telling you, it's going to be the best event I've ever done in my entire life. You guys have coached with me, you know how good our events are. People walk out making money. Okay, people walk out making money. They walk out not being confused about how to offer their product. They take their calling and they have a path to get there. We're teaching something called freedom funnels, right? Like we're actually workshopping it. It's not an event with 27 people on a stage with all a bunch of ideas to spin you. It's an event that takes you through 3 days. Day number 1, we're getting your strategy. I can't do that on here. I need a whole freaking day with you, right? I can tell you to pick a goal, but are you picking the right goal for the freedom you want? Do you get what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you, I've wanted to do a million things that I felt inspired to do. Like I'd love to teach y'all how to speak, right? I'd love to teach y'all how to do a speaking workshop. I would love to do that. But it's actually not the right thing to do right here, because if you don't have an email list, a text message list, then you're chasing a shiny object because nobody's coming to your events. You're not going to have 1,400 new people join your program this month. I mean, why not you? Why not you? Oh, because I've never had 1,400 people ever join a program. Okay, so you're hanging out with the wrong people. You're hanging out with the wrong people. That's it. You hung out with people who didn't see you. They didn't see your it factor, so it hasn't been able to shine. Like you can't get out alone. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like the story you tell yourself is the story of the combined judgments or assessments of you. And no matter what, you become the people you spend your time with. I was just telling Ash, there was this study for kids that shows that if kids hang out, if they are raised in a better neighborhood, they will be 20% more affluent than if they would have stayed in a impoverished neighborhood. Do you get it? That's just from hanging out. It's just from hanging out. My son hangs out in homeschool pods and in like pickup soccer with kids that their parents have jets and helicopters, and you may judge that. But see, I don't care if people judge that anymore. I judged it too before I needed to get a jet. And it wasn't a desire. It wasn't because I was on a book tour and I had to be on all these different locations. It wasn't out of convenience. It was out of necessity. And I know what it takes for you to have gotten to where you're at. And I know what it took for me to get here. You get what I'm like? We know the path, and it hasn't been easy. And so when you get to the point where you need to do these things because they make sense in your life, you have all the rest of the world that judges you because the athlete, the runner doesn't judge the runner. The person that judges the runner for eating discipline and running and working out, the person who judges them is always the person who hasn't done it. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like everybody judges the people who have gotten there, but it's like, listen, I put my son there, and I put him there because not because it's about money, but it's because it's about thinking. Do you know what you have to do? Like you have to actually believe you can change the world to make a lot of money. Have you ever thought about that? Like you have to actually believe that you're so important, and not from an ego side, but you're so important that there are millions of people out there that absolutely need you to show up. And when you believe you are the person to do that, your work ethic changes. Do you know one of the number one things entrepreneurs tell me is, I don't know if I have the work ethic. I don't know if I can work the way it takes. Well, I just told you at the beginning of this live, I work 15 days a month. I take the last week of the month off, not to go eat bonbons, but to think about you. And how can I be more effective to help you? And sometimes that looks like going for a walk, getting a pedicure. And sometimes that looks like, okay, I'm in the zone and I'm flying through solutions. And then the company goes whew, like a hockey puck. Okay. The last thing is you need to focus on cash. And the reason why this is so important, my friends, is because you focus way too much on your emotions of what you feel. I feel like I need to be a speaker. I feel like I need to do a podcast. I feel like I have a calling to write a book. Okay, but does it make sense in your goal yet? I'm going to bring it all together right now. Does it, if you write a book and you don't have either the money to pay for a marketing team, I have a marketing team, right? If you don't have and trust me, Jonathan runs it and he's not going to come work for free. I think we had like a 3-week freaking negotiation. You get what I mean? Before he came on. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like that's not a cheap investment. Okay. So does your goal, if I wanted to write a book, not meant to be live, but I wanted to write a book, but I have no email list and no cash, who's that for? That'd be for me. not for you. That'd be all about me. Because it's definitely not focusing on the cash, because I have nobody that will ever read that book. Without a list, an email list, a text message list, an ability to fill an event, or cash to be able to market, writing a book is absolutely insane. Because nobody's going to read it. How many guys know I'm right? How many guys you know who are authors that have no Amazon reviews? Or they went and took an Amazon course where everybody in the room bought the book for 99 cents and they became an Amazon bestseller. It's such bullshit. I mean, maybe it made their ego feel good. I'm an Amazon bestseller. Yeah, you have nobody to tell that to either, because you still don't have an email list or a text message list. You get it? Right? So I want to empower you to be smart. Are some of you guys getting smarter right now? Because other people will tell you what you should do. And sales funnels are amazing. Make sure you're in the right sales funnel to buy whatever you need to buy next. Okay, don't be afraid to be sold, but be sold, be searching for your goal, and you will end up in sales funnels online that actually help you hit it. Right? You're going through a divorce, you don't want a divorce. You want to have found a funnel that shows you how to get that marriage to not go to divorce. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Right? Which means I need to teach you how to create freedom funnels for your ideal customer or client. I'm doing that at the Zone event. Okay? So I want you to restructure this. I'm going to end this live now. I'm going to work with you guys on the on-demand mastermind. Okay? And we're going to dive into this deeper. You guys excited? You guys on Zoom with me? This is not for our social channels, just our Zoom. Okay, I'm going to dive in with you guys on this topic. But what I'm asking everybody to do is pick a goal that's the right goal for you to work right now, based on what your company needs, not what your inspiration needs, your feelings need. Okay, you'll get it. Like if you have an instinct to write a book, you have an instinct to start a podcast, I believe you're supposed to do that. I just want you to put it in the right order, because if you don't focus on cash flow, every business does well with cash flow. Unless you're going to get venture capital cash and you're going to give up almost everything of your business, which I would imagine most of the people here are not attracted to that, then your main bloodline, what keeps the heart beating, is cash flow. And if you don't focus on this, which means that your goals should be connected to this. You get it? Yes? Are you hearing me? Once the cash flow is good and strong, we are known for this. We help entrepreneurs build cash-rich businesses. And trust me, you are a full-time job to get you to emotionally do the right thing. Because everybody wants to do the thing that makes them feel good. But I'm like, listen, we'll get there. We'll get there even faster if we can put the foundation in properly. One of the things we're going to teach at the Zone event is my friend Sherry Campbell's coming, and she's going to show you how to run your business on the fundamentals of cash flow and your numbers, so that your cash is actually reliable. Who loves that? Who teaches that in a business event? No one. We want to set you up from Zone event so that you are thinking about the foundation of what you want to make, must make, and should be making to be able to take your company to where you want to be. And then we're going to show you how to set the targets at Zone event so that you will know at the end of the year, that's how to pace. You'll make your decisions off your P&Ls, your profit and loss statements, versus off your emotions. I'm going to ground this shit so the building goes up, right? You're never going to see this at a business building event because it's not profitable to teach it to you. There's no course to sell you. Do you get what I'm saying? So, however, you don't want to be part of the whatever 70, 80%. I don't even know the statistics now because we have such a high success rate in our Meant to Be Live program. It's something like 19% of all entrepreneurs that ever make money. In network marketing, 95% of people don't ever make money. That's bullshit. I can show you how to make money. In network marketing, coaching, real estate, I did $170 million in real estate in less than 2 years. Like when you unlock this in your brain, you work off your data, but it's the way you think and process emotions, goals, the way you process is what will tell me if you're going to be successful. I call that your leadership, the way you lead those thoughts, because that's what tells me what you're going to work on next. You get it? Okay, so So if you focus, if you really look at what cash does your business need, not just you, what cash does your business need will automatically rise you above low standard thinking. Okay. Then what is the step you're in on the goal that you're working on? That's how you stop spinning. And your goal that you're working on needs to produce cash flow, unless you're going and getting venture capital. Then they don't care about that. But you need to have a good amount of cash. Well, you need to either have somebody invest in your business or already have cash to be able to generate buyers. Make sense? Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. Your goal is today, to let everybody know when your flex time is. I want you to think like a winner. I want you to come to Zone event. Join me at zone.com. Join me at zone.com. If you're not set up for that, that page is going to come down soon. So grab that link and go get a great price ticket to come at the end of November. You guys I'm going to go live tomorrow. Normally I'm not live this week, but I've gotten a week and a half of flex time. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about how excuse me. I like catching like a little thingy in my throat. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about money. So I'm going to continue on this piece. Okay, so how do I find money for absolutely anything I need? Okay, how do I find money? How do I generate it? Right? Not like, how do I generate it? I'm trying to teach you how I think. And then how do I generate it so it's non-emotional? Tomorrow's going to be a big, big day. You guys ready? Yes? And then we'll go off into the weekend. So do your homework tonight, flex time, commit to it for 60 days. Let everybody know, you don't have to tell them it's for 60 days, but commit to it for 60 days. And don't change whatever plan you pick for your flex time for 60 days. Do I have a yes on that? All right, my amazing friends. I will see you soon, you guys, on the On Demand Mastermind on Zoom. Stay with me. Let's shut off social. See you tomorrow.